You awaken to the sharp sting of icy water splashing across your face, jolting your senses to a panicked clarity. The world swims into view, a disorienting blur of torchlight flickering against stone walls slick with moisture. Your head throbs violently as you try to move, only to find your wrists bound tightly with coarse rope that bites into your flesh. The air is thick with the metallic scent of blood and something darker, more sinister, a mix of sweat, fear, and despair. Muffled cries echo in the distance, blending with the cold laughter of men whose language you don't yet understand. Suddenly, rough hands yank you upward, dragging you painfully to your feet. Your vision clears just enough to see the cage surrounding you, rusted iron bars trapping you in this grim, dimly lit chamber. Outside the cage, shadowy figures move with brutal efficiency, examining captives like animals at a market. You realize with a sinking dread that this is precisely what you've become: a commodity, an object to be bought and sold. "New shipment from Gaul," shouts a man with a voice like gravel stepping into the torchlight. He grips your chin in his calloused hand, turning your head forcefully from side to side, inspecting you. His eyes, cold and detached, betray no hint of humanity. Your mind flashes back to the serene fields of your village, the soft laughter of your younger brother, your mother's gentle voice singing songs of old. How distant those memories feel now, drowned beneath waves of shock and terror. You'd been herding sheep just days ago, lost in the tranquil rhythm of pastoral life, unaware of the band of slavers descending upon your village like wolves. They had come swiftly and mercilessly, tearing families apart, ignoring pleas for mercy, driven only by the cold calculation of profit. Now you stand trembling and exposed, stripped of dignity and freedom, far from the forests and fields you once called home. You're shoved forward roughly, staggering against others, boys whose eyes reflect the same wild panic you feel in your own heart. A sudden chill courses through your body as a realization dawns, colder than the damp air pressing against your bare skin. You're being prepared for the auction block. Fresh and unspoiled, another man laughs harshly, his grin twisted with cruelty. The senators will pay dearly for these. Your stomach churns violently, bile rising in your throat as you grasp the horrifying truth. You've heard whispered rumors of what awaits slaves bought for pleasure, dark tales shared around village fires, meant to scare and warn, yet never did you think such nightmares could become your reality. The rough hands of your captors push you through a narrow corridor, its walls echoing with the quiet sobbing of the hopeless. Your bare feet stumble over cold, uneven stone, each step taking you further from the life you knew toward an uncertain fate. A heavy wooden door groans open, revealing the dazzling glare of sunlight, blinding after the darkness. "Welcome to Rome," a voice sneers behind you, "where your suffering will become someone else's pleasure." The glaring sunlight assaults your eyes, forcing them shut as you're thrust onto a raised wooden platform in a bustling Roman marketplace. A cacophony of voices surges around you, harsh laughter mixing with heated haggling. You blink against the painful brightness, vision swimming until the scene slowly comes into brutal clarity. Rows of men, wealthy patricians in pristine white togas edged in purple, scrutinize you with predatory curiosity. Their expressions convey neither compassion nor pity, only cold calculation, as if they're inspecting cattle rather than human lives. "Turn around," a slaver growls, striking your bare back with a thin cane. Pain jolts through your body, burning sharp and sudden. You bite your lip, forcing down the instinctive cry, knowing it would only draw more attention, something you desperately want to avoid. As you slowly rotate, humiliation burns through you hotter than the midday sun. The gaze of countless strangers crawls over your skin, probing, invasive. Your cheeks flush with shame as whispers ripple through the crowd. Questions float in the air-murmured observations on your youth, your physique, your potential value. A few nod approvingly, others sneer in disdain. A man steps forward from the crowd, older and distinguished, his silver hair neatly styled and eyes gleaming with detached curiosity. He approaches with the confidence of one accustomed to command. Without a word, he reaches out, gripping your jaw firmly, forcing you to meet his penetrating gaze. His fingers dig into your skin, strong enough to bruise. "Fine bone structure," he observes coldly, addressing the slave trader behind you as if you weren't even there. "How old?" 14, perhaps 15, the slaver responds dismissively, uninterested beyond making the sale. The patrician's mouth quirks into a small, predatory smile. "Perfect," he breathes, releasing your face with a shove. "Prepare him." The slaver nods and signals his assistants, who rush forward, scrubbing your body with scented oils, the floral perfume masking your terror and sweat. Someone else dresses you hastily in a flimsy, thin tunic designed more to reveal than conceal. You're now a product, primed and displayed for maximum appeal. Sold! A shout pierces your days, and a heavy purse exchanges hands, your life bought for a handful of silver coins. A slave's rough hand pulls you off the platform, guiding you toward your new master, whose face reveals nothing of mercy or kindness, only cold expectation. As you're dragged away from the market, the deafening noise fades behind you, replaced by the sharp clip of sandals on polished stone. The streets of Rome unfold before your horrified gaze, opulent villas rising beside crowded slums, marble statues overlooking streets filled with filth and desperation. It's a city of stark contrasts, brutal power held over human suffering, a place where privilege rests on the backs of the oppressed. You arrive at an expansive villa adorned with grand columns and intricate mosaics. Exotic birds flutter in cages, their vibrant feathers a cruel contrast to your own captivity. You're ushered inside through grand doors, past lavish rooms filled with silks, ornate furniture, and frescoes depicting scenes of indulgence. Each step deeper into the villa feels like another chain being wrapped around your freedom. Finally, you're brought into a private chamber, opulent yet oppressive in its silence. Your new master sits casually, reclining on a plush couch as he watches you with an unsettling calm. "Come closer," he commands softly, his voice dripping with restrained menace. You hesitate, legs frozen in fear, but another slave pushes you forward sharply, and you stumble to your knees before him. Your master's fingers gently stroke your cheek, his touch deceptively soft as his eyes study your face with chilling intensity. "Such innocence," he murmurs with satisfaction, his hand sliding to rest possessively on your neck. "How quickly Rome will break you." Your first night in the villa passes slowly, each minute a tormenting eternity. Locked alone in a small chamber, you can hear the distant sounds of laughter, music, and revelry, all mocking reminders of the freedom that now belongs to others, but not to you. The air is heavy, perfumed with the scent of incense and exotic oils, which does nothing to mask the underlying stench of fear and despair clinging to every stone. Sleep is impossible. Each creak in the corridor jolts you awake, expecting at any moment to see the door open and your master enter. But no one comes. Instead, you're left to the torture of anticipation, forced to imagine countless horrifying scenarios of what's to come, each more vivid than the last. Morning brings no relief. The door opens abruptly, and a stern-faced woman appears, her dark eyes appraising you coolly. Without introduction, she begins instructing you on your new duties, her tone detached and indifferent. You are to serve guests, pour wine, entertain conversation, but above all, you're to obey without question. The consequences of resistance or failure, she assures, are too severe to contemplate. The woman's presence vanishes as quickly as it appeared, replaced by a rush of attendants who dress you carefully, draping you in fine silks and adorning your wrists and neck with gleaming golden bracelets. Your reflection in a polished bronze mirror reveals a Strangira figure designed entirely for pleasure and consumption. Shame burns through your veins, the weight of the jewelry feeling more like chains than adornments. Night returns swiftly, and with it comes the inevitable summons. You're led into a grand hall, filled with Rome's elite senators, merchants, and aristocrats reclining on plush couches, their eyes following your every move. Candlelight dances off gold goblets and silk cushions, creating an illusion of beauty that belies the ugly truth beneath. Your master beckons, signaling you forward with a subtle flick of his fingers. Trembling, you approach him, carefully pouring rich red wine into his chalice. His hand, gentle yet possessive, brushes your arm, sending a shudder through your body that you fight desperately to conceal. "Sit," he commands softly, pulling you down beside him on the cushioned couch. His guests watch with interest, some openly leering, others pretending indifference even as their eyes linger. Your cheeks burn with humiliation, your heart racing wildly in your chest. "He's new," your master announces casually, fingertips brushing your hair back from your face. "From the wild lands beyond our borders, untouched and untrained." The murmurs around the room intensify, curiosity sharpening their gazes. Your stomach clenches as understanding dawns. Tonight is not merely a gathering. It's a demonstration of ownership, a display of power through your submission. Your master leans close, his voice a whisper only you can hear. Do exactly as you're told, and the pain will be less. The night unfolds in a blur of shame and obedience. You pour wine, you offer forced smiles, you endure lingering touches and whispered comments that chill your blood. Your dignity stripped away piece by piece, until there's nothing left but the hollow shell of what you once were. Hours pass until finally, mercifully, the guests depart, leaving you trembling and exhausted at your master's side. He regards you coldly, satisfied by your submission yet disappointed by the flicker of defiance still smoldering in your eyes. "You have much to learn," he murmurs, fingers gripping your chin roughly, forcing you to look up into his gaze. "But Rome is patient, and I will enjoy breaking your spirit, bit by bit." He releases you abruptly, signaling the attendants to take you away. As you're dragged back to your room, one terrible truth consumes your thoughts. You now belong to this world, this monstrous system that treats your life as nothing more than a disposable pleasure. And as you lie in darkness, broken yet alive, you realize your ordeal has only just begun. Days blur into weeks, each one indistinguishable from the last, a cycle of degradation and forced compliance. Gradually, the vibrant memories of your former life begin to fade, replaced by a numb resignation, the steady erosion of hope eating away at your soul. You become adept at wearing a mask of indifference, burying your true self beneath layers of forced smiles and obedient gestures. It is your only defense and illusion of compliance, your only shield against further punishment. But beneath the mask, your spirit still flickers, a faint but defiant flame, refusing to be extinguished completely. When alone, you trace shapes in the dust of your chamber, symbols of your homeland, secret reminders of who you once were. Each mark is an act of quiet rebellion, a silent assertion that some small part of you remains beyond their control. Yet resistance comes at a price. One night, after another humiliating evening serving your master's guests, you overhear whispers among the older slaves' dangerous murmurs of rebellion and escape. Marcus, a fellow captive, pulls you aside when the overseer is distracted, his eyes hard and desperate. "Tonight," he breathes urgently, "we make our move. A boat awaits at the river, but we must be swift and silent. Will you join us?" Your heart races, fear and hope warring inside your chest. Freedom such a fragile, dangerous dream, yet even the faintest chance of escape stirs something deep within you. You nod quickly, your throat dry, as Marcus presses a finger to his lips and disappears into the shadows. Nightfall arrives, thick and oppressive. The villa falls into an uneasy silence, broken only by distant guards and rustling leaves. You slip quietly from your chamber, heart pounding with anticipation and dread. In the shadows near the garden gate, Marcus and two others await, their faces tense, eyes darting nervously in the dark. Together, you creep silently along the wall, each step careful and calculated. Hope flickers brighter with every second, the river's distant murmur growing louder. Then suddenly, chaos erupts, a torch flares to life, illuminating armed guards waiting in ambush, blades gleaming cruelly in the flickering light. Marcus lunges forward, desperate, fighting fiercely but swiftly cut down, his body collapsing to the ground with a sickening thud. You freeze in horror, heart slamming against your ribs as rough hands seize you, dragging you back toward the villa. The punishment awaiting you is unimaginable, and yet your mind remains locked on the image of Marcus's lifeless body, the tragic cost of your failed rebellion. You're thrown violently into your master's chamber, the impact sending you sprawling across the cold marble floor. Your master watches silently, his expression unreadable, but his eyes blaze with barely contained fury. "You disappoint me," he whispers dangerously, voice thick with restrained rage. "I believed I had taught you obedience." He circles you slowly, each footstep echoing ominously. But clearly, your spirit remains unbroken. Perhaps a harsher lesson is needed. Fear grips your heart, paralyzing your body as he gestures sharply, signaling for the overseer to approach with a whip. Your eyes widen in terror, pleading silently, but mercy is not something Rome knows. Pain explodes across your back, white-hot and blinding, again and again, until consciousness threatens to slip away. Never forget, your master hisses coldly, leaning down until his breath brushes your ear, that your life belongs to me entirely. There is no escape, no freedom, only obedience. As darkness claims you, you realize he's right. Rome's cruelty is absolute, its chains unbreakable. The price of rebellion is blood, and hope is merely a weapon used against you. Days pass in a feverish haze, the world shifting in and out of focus through waves of pain. Your wounds fester, the fever raging. Yet your master orders that no physician attend you, your agony meant to serve as a brutal lesson. In delirious dreams, you see the faces of those you loved, hear the gentle lullabies your mother once sang. But each awakening thrusts you back into a harsh reality, reminding you cruelly that you are utterly alone. Eventually, your fever breaks, leaving you weakened, hollow, but alive. Your body bears fresh scars, stark reminders of your failed escape. Yet deeper wounds lie unseen, the knowledge that the only possible survival is through absolute submission, a bitter truth you now accept. You resume your duties, silent and compliant, your master's vigilant eyes constantly upon you, searching for any trace of defiance. Time wears on, measured not in days or months, but by your slow, inevitable surrender to this new life. Even the memory of freedom fades, replaced by routines designed to erase all traces of your humanity. One evening, your master summons you to a grand feast, a celebration of some meaningless victory. You stand quietly, refilling wine goblets, invisible yet fully aware of every gaze upon you. A senator, bloated with wine, gestures carelessly in your direction, his smile lecherous. He's grown obedient, hasn't he? You've trained him well. Your master's lips curve into a satisfied smirk. Even the fiercest animal learns submission eventually, he replies smoothly, pride evident in his voice. He beckons you closer, gripping your wrist possessively, fingers tracing the scars on your arm. See how he wears these marks? Proof that defiance always loses. The senator chuckles darkly, reaching out to touch your face, his fingers lingering coldly against your skin. And such beauty broken into submission is Rome's greatest pleasure. You remain still, your expression blank, even as disgust burns within you. Your master's approving nod confirms that you have finally learned the lesson they've worked so brutally to impart. You've become exactly what Rome demands, a beautiful, silent, obedient object of desire, stripped of voice, choice, and dignity. The guests disperse slowly, leaving you alone with your master once again. He regards you thoughtfully, his gaze assessing. You've changed, he notes with cold satisfaction. I see the fire in your eyes is extinguished. Rome has finally shaped you into what you are always meant to be. You nod silently, eyes lowered submissively. He reaches out, lifting your chin, forcing you to look into his cold, calculating stare. Do you finally accept your fate? Your response is quiet, empty, devoid of resistance. Yes, master. His smile deepens, triumphant and chilling. Good. Then perhaps you've earned some reward. He releases you abruptly, signaling toward the door. Go now, rest. You bow obediently and leave the room, feeling hollow, broken beyond repair. Alone in your cell, you realize this is not kindness, but the final proof of your complete defeat. Rome has won, and you have become nothing more than the forgotten boy sold for pleasure. Lives discarded, humanity erased. Tonight, beneath the indifferent stars, you finally accept that your story will never be told. You're just another forgotten life, trapped forever within the merciless embrace of Rome.